Well, that's nice. And Sislin just dropped in. So what do you think, guys? You getting a little bit excited about this?
Okay, guys, we are recording this. Thanks for joining us. It is now 2:59. We're going to get started in just a minute or so.
Wait a minute now. Just a minute, Keith. Cecil is in the room twice again. Cecil, why are you coming in the room twice?
Maybe he's doing some testing. Oh, now he's gone.
All right.
There you go. Cecil's in the room once. Hopefully, maybe he was using a laptop versus desktop or something like that. I am in here twice.
Yeah, well, you got a reason for it, but
yeah. Yes, I'm excited. Started to set up the room before the call. Fantastic.
While you stepped away, I asked that question. Are you folks getting excited yet?
Oh, okay.
Deb said yes.
Great. Fantastic. Me too. Me too. This is the first time I'm using. Good. As you can see at the top left-hand side, being in this room, it should say, the URL should actually say vircast, live.vircast.com:8081, all that kind of fun stuff. So that shows you that we are actually using the vircast system today. This is the first time.
You're going to switch over to for coffee time tomorrow?
Oh yeah, I'll make it all set up. I'm going to use this room. Will be in the iframe of the coffee time room tomorrow. Maybe not this room, but a room just like this. Okay.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. And a couple things that I'll point out now that it's a little bit after 3 o'clock. A couple things I want to point out that we're working on. JQ and I have access to software called iDev Affiliate. And one of the things that I completely forgot about in waiting for the software to be done was that we needed to have an affiliate system built into vircast. And this system does not come with an affiliate program. We will have an affiliate program as hopefully sometime within the next 48 to 72 hours. And I know that there are some non-members, non-founders in here, but for the founders, they're going to get a little bit of an extra bonus in their commissions if they promote vircast. Now, obviously, you want to promote your own websites first that you have if you're going to do that. But after you're done selling those websites, you're still going to get a benefit selling vircast at a little bit higher commission rate than anybody else. So congratulations on you guys. Woohoo! iDev Affiliate allows us to create one install and have multiple websites that we can promote from that one install. So for instance, we give you one web URL, and when you log into our affiliate program, you can say, do you want to sell vircast? Do you want to sell uResponder? Do you want to sell whatever it is else that we have? You can just go to that one website to be able to promote all of our websites. Yeehaw, says Deb Lane. Now, that's not true with a couple of our websites. Like SMS Dominator is going to have to be a separate situation because we have that wrapped around the Butterfly Marketing System. But going forward, I think, JQ, we're probably going to use this iDev Affiliate. Would you agree?
Absolutely. If we can get it set up working the way it's supposed to work, I think it's going to work very well. As I said, I've set one of these systems up before, and just got to get into it again.
Now, I started setting it up today, and I got to tell you, there's one thing that has blown my mind so far with iDev Affiliate. We purchased iDev Affiliate, it'll be a year on April 30th. We never used it. I've installed it, I uninstalled it, I installed it, I uninstalled it. But today, I'm like, okay, I'm 100% using this program. I just don't completely understand how it works. So I sent tech support, or whatever support you want to call it, tech support, 2 tickets. And within 15 minutes, I got a response on both tickets. And the response was not just a response. It was a response that was exactly what I wanted to hear, or exactly what I asked. You know, how many times have you sent a ticket and never received the right response? Is like, what are you talking about? I asked you this and you gave me an answer to something completely different. So I was pretty impressed with that. One of the questions that I asked, because last night, JQ, I purchased the website called getpaidaffiliate.com. And I'm thinking that's probably a good name, right?
Sounds like it.
That's not a good name, getpaidaffiliate.com? And it
Yes,
is a great name. The problem with GetPaid, awesome, great things coming. Yes, Terry. The problem with getpaidaffiliate.com is that if you were to promote any of our websites, you would provide the link getpaidaffiliate.com/go/question mark equals 123 if that's your affiliate ID. And I think that's not very good. So at the outset, getpaidaffiliate.com to me sounded great, and then I realized, and I sent the ticket out. I'm like, so is the affiliate URL going to be something like that? Yeah, ugly, exactly, Ken. We're going to get paid for selling this product. It's just like it just kind of like sticks out there like a sore thumb. So obviously, though, you guys can make it a tiny URL, and it'll be redirected to vircast, which is a pretty good name. But that being said, if you didn't want to shorten the URL or cloak that URL, then it's not that good of a website. We do own the website name mylinkforyou.com, and I think that's the one, if you agree, JQ, that we should use instead. So I'll just delete where I have it and move it to mylinkforyou.com.
Yeah, I think that's fine. That's fine with me.
Yeah. So then the website would be something along like mylinkforyou.com/go question mark equals 123. Sounds like a plan. There you go. I like that one, says Ken. Great. As long as Ken Helmber's happy, I'm happy.
There you go. That's all that counts, really.
All right.
I want to ask a question, Keith. I hope you don't mind. I want to ask a question because we were talking about this yesterday and we didn't really decide. But and I'll ask this group because it's a small group, so we won't have too big a disparity here. But guys, just in your opinion, this is strictly your opinion, and I don't say we're going to pay any attention to you at all. But I would be interested in knowing, what do you think, considering the pricing structure that we've set up with vircast? Okay, what do you think would be a realistic payout for an affiliate?
Aim high, everybody.
You always aim high, obviously. But I'm asking for your honest input. What do you think would be a realistic, fair payout for a commission? Sean has entered the room. Let me cancel that question then. He's going to have it at 99% or something. I don't know.
After I saw mine, yes, Terry. Terry owns the name vircaster.com, so that's pretty good because he can then forward his affiliate link to vircaster.com, and that sounds great.
Bill Lick says 25%. Cecil Norris says 50%.
Now, typically, if this is a one-time sale, this is typically what happens in my world that I've seen. If it's a one-time sale, 50%, somewhere between 40 and 50% is usually the number that's out there on a product. When it's a monthly commissioned product, it's typically less, and it's typically somewhere between 20 and 35 or something like that.
Sislin, you put on 80%. I hope you're not serious about that.
Well, you know what? She can get 100% on her 10 websites if she wants. That's something that she can.
That's true. That's true. That's true. No, Sean. The question was, and again, this is just for curiosity's sake. It's not saying we're going to listen.
Yes, we are talking about JV splits. Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about the commission. What people think would be a realistic commission, fair, realistic commission on vircast, considering what our current pricing structure is. I mean, obviously we can't give away the store, folks, but by the same token, we want to make sure it's attractive enough that people are going to want to promote it, so they know that if they do promote it, they're going to make something, right? So that's it, and just your honest feedback is appreciated. industry standard is 53 to 47%, so the average is 50%.
For one-time payments, right? That's the key for one-time payments. And since this is multiple payments, industry standard is definitely significantly lower than that.
Exactly, Deb, you're right there. If we could go 50%, that's the biggest attraction. I agree. Both Keith and I agree on that. But again, the problem is realistically considering the pricing structure. I mean, we're not the highest priced service on the net. I think we're quite reasonably priced, maybe even economically priced.
We are economically priced. We're priced better than anybody else that I know of that has brandable websites. That's the key. If you have non-brandable websites, there are free versions out there, like AnyMeeting or something like that. .com is a free service up to 250 customers, but they have other people's ads around there, and the likelihood of you making a real sale, if you're going to try to sell something through the AnyMeeting system, doing that is much lower than if you were to use a system like this. So by spending a couple extra dollars, you get a brandable site, so that everything is linked to your website.
Well, anyways, I thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. It's good to hear some ideas. Somebody mentioned a couple of times here this residual. Yeah, the commissions that will be earned will be paid monthly. In other words, we're going to be billing people monthly. Those of you who receive commissions will be receiving commissions monthly. Okay,
right.
So that's
and
the way
you'll be able to see exactly through the iDev system. You're going to be able to see exactly if you're promoting it. You'll be able to see how many people clicked the link, how many people actually purchased through your link, how much money you made, what your sales are pending. It's got a tremendous amount of detail through our new affiliate system. Personally, JQ and I need to learn exactly how to use it before we can open the doors to that. My goal and my hope is that we'll be done on our end somewhere between 48 and 72 hours. Now, the only other issue with that is that we need to set up all our links inside our system to make sure they're appropriate. Right now, if you were to make a purchase, it's going to go right direct from the service to PayPal. And we don't have a tie-in with our affiliate system yet. So, and I don't have access to that page yet, and that's one of the things that I'm waiting for. And it might be possible that the program is going to have to do that for us. And so if it takes us 48 to 72 hours to finish, it might take another 24 hours on top of our time to get our affiliate system up and running. But I do think it's a great little affiliate system. And Terry Holt, JQ and I have been talking about something like that. You're somewhat close to that. One of the other things that we might be able to do, JQ, with our new system is that we can incentivize anybody to sign up to our affiliate program by saying, we'll pay you $10 to sign up to our affiliate program, but we'll have a minimum payout of over $10. So, for instance, you can't just sign up and not do anything, and we give you just $10. In order for you to get to receive any commission, you have to earn at least $20 before we do any payouts. So those are other things that we can do that we may or may not implement. All right, I'm going to go into the world famous desktop sharing, JQ, and I'm going to bounce back in here. And if anybody has any questions, you can certainly ask away while I'm in desktop sharing. Now remember, in desktop sharing, you guys will be able to see a little arrow, the little tab, and I think many of you here are familiar with the tabs here. That little tab is going to appear at the very bottom. If you have questions and you want to write something down right away, just go to that tab button, click it, and then ask the questions. And I can jump back and forth and see if you guys have any questions and answer them as we go forward. All right? Now, yeah, go ahead. Let me put my glasses on so I can hear you, JQ.
Thank you. Very good. Very good. That's better.
I can hear you.
Thanks. No, before you go in, Sislin asked a good question here. Who will be responsible for handling the maintenance of the sites we own and sell and rent?
That is an excellent question. The answer to that is that you're going to be responsible for handling any problems that occur within those websites that you rent out. Now, if that person has a question, what I would like to see happen is that they contact you and you'll be able to answer that question 9 out of 10 times. If you can't answer that question, then you would contact us. Now, in the real world, I can see that it's not going to be that big of a problem because there's not that many people that have reselling. It might just be better, JQ, and maybe you can respond to this too. Have them just go directly to us because maybe you can be the go-to person initially, and then if there's any problems, like if their website's down, they need to obviously contact us anyway. So
Right.
that's one thing. That's one thing that I was thinking about is trying to have some type of an emergency contact. So if something happens where the server's down and we don't know about it, there needs to be some type of an emergency contact that we will provide to make sure that we start working on fixing that.
Exactly, exactly. One thing also, guys, Keith has already started making some tutorials, video tutorials. I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to make those available to the world, aren't we, Keith?
Absolutely.
So, in other words, if you're selling a room to someone else, they can just bring up those tutorials and do it, and probably get most of the questions answered right there. If they have additional questions, that they should come back to you, and if you can't answer it, you got two choices. One is you can get a hold of Keith or myself for an answer, or if it's really a toughie, you can send them directly to us, and we'll do our best. I personally would rather to see you guys who are selling the rooms take the responsibility to do the support that you can do. Now, we're not expecting you to do support that you have no idea what's going on, like the software itself. That would not be right. But the support that you can do, these are your customers now. They're not our customers, okay? And you should handle that as best you can. Now, you guys are our customers. We're going to handle you as best we can. Not very
right.
good.
We're going to provide one thing, and I'm going to actually go right into desktop sharing now. I'm going to show you some things that we're working on, and hopefully we'll be done with it. I'm going to say somewhere. It says, okay, here we go. It says desktop sharing is active, and it really wasn't. Okay, so what you should see now is there's a tab right here at the very bottom center, and it pops back up again. All right. So you should be able to see that. Again, I'm going to do that again. If you guys have some questions while I'm showing some of the parts of the room, I'll take a look at that. Training on how to use the room for sure be our job for our customers, right? Let's go into the back office right now and take a look at that.
This looks just like what we've been used to every day for the past couple of months.
You and me?
Yeah.
Amazing. One thing that's in here that is going to change over the next, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take. This is a lot of white area here. There's a ton of white area. When you first log in, let me see if I can click on some buttons here. When you first log in, you can see that there's a lot of white space in here. And wherever there's a lot of white space, we're going to put a lot of videos in here. Click here to watch some videos, or we'll actually have some videos in here so you can use it. This is all going to be framed in here with videos on how to do things, because I think this is the right place for them to be. Right now, in the past, the way we've been using the system to learn how to use it, the videos are some elsewhere, and it's just not fun. Here are the real important things, and I know that many of you probably have watched the video that I created over the last, or yesterday, feels like it was a week ago for crying out loud, the video that I created. The first thing you need to do when you log in is click on My Webcasts. And when you click on My Webcast, you come to this page here. And the next thing you want to do is click on New. But I want to just slide over. Once you click on New and you create everything, this is your livelihood right here. There are really two parts to the system that is so vitally important. Part one is creating the web room. Part two is to create the webcast. Okay, you have a room and the webcast. And when the web room and the webcast are both created and they're tied into each other, then you can actually have a presentation and use the webcast system. So there's really two parts to setting up your web room. Part one, creating the web room, and then creating the webcast so that you can actually do the broadcast. And this is where this is the place where you create the webcast. And in here, these three file folders here, that's where you create the web broadcasting system. So this is the webinar. The webinar rooms are here. The webcast rooms are inside here. So I guess this is the. I guess if you're looking at a folder, this is the front page of the folder, and this is the inside cover of the folder where you can actually go in and see the webcast sessions. So I can actually create other webcast sessions. So let's go into. I'm actually in this one right here. I'm just going to click here. I can actually enter right now another room if I wanted to. I can edit this other room if I wanted to, or I can create another webcast session. So let's say that this session is supposed to be a webcast session. It's a one-time session. Now, obviously, the Coffee Time Show is an ongoing session. But let's say that I only want to use one room, and in this one room, at 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock every morning, I want to have a session. So I could call this my 8 o'clock session, and I can create a new session within the same web room, and I can call it the 10 a.m. session. Something like that, and I can provide a description. Now, one of the things that I should have done, and I made a mistake on my part, is I should have used Firefox in here, because Firefox. In fact, I'm going to do that, JQ. Let me go into Firefox right now. Bear with me 1 second.
Why don't you do that, guys? You want to? While he's doing that, keep in mind now what he said. There is a difference there between a webcast, all right, and the web room. Right, and so you've got to merge the two, and it's easy, but you'll just have to get used to it initially.
Absolutely, it is easy, and you do have to get used to it initially. And I just got to wait a minute because my Firefox is not responding because it's one of the things I found that's a little clunky. Here it goes. All right, so I'm just going to go into vircast.com. And by the way, this is a good little training, because now that I'm in vircast.com, at the very top you can see member login. Now, a lot of people have been onto vircast.com and they may not have seen member login. It might say home page. Just refresh the room and it'll refresh. It'll get rid of that. It'll push out that cache that you had, and it'll then read member login. Click on member login.
That's exactly what happened to me yesterday, guys. I was climbing a wall. What's going on here? I can't get in.
And I only set it up on that home page just to rush it out, but I'll make sure it's available on all the pages that we have in vircast. All right, so you put in your username and password after you do that, and you log in. Okay, now, and it should say, for those of people who are already members, it should say 10 webinar rooms. Each webinar can accept 500 attendees. Now I'm going to go back to Webcast, and I'll show you why I really wanted to go into Firefox. For some reason, when you're editing inside Internet Explorer, it doesn't have the HTML edit keys in there. It doesn't have all the fancy things that you can do in there. So you need to edit things using Firefox or Chrome. But trying to edit using Internet Explorer is just does not work that well. So okay, so we're in this file folder right here, and I wanted to create a new session. So you can see here, there's a session. It's called this session, the Coffee Time Show, and we know that that's from whatever 10 to 11. But let's say, just for giggles, let's just say that that's for an 8 o'clock show. So I want to create a new session. And as you can see, and hopefully, can you see this, JQ, all this fun stuff?
Looks good to me. Yes, the full editor.
I just want to go back to Internet. I just want to go back to Internet Explorer, so you can see it doesn't have that. For some reason, the full editor does not work in Internet Explorer. I don't know why, but I know that that happens with a lot of different programs. It's not just this one. So you go into Firefox, and we call this the. I'll call this the high. I'll change it to the high noon session. This broadcast begins at high noon on, actually, I'll do Thursday, April 25th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I can, and again, nice thing about this feature is that I can actually put a video in here. I know you guys have seen my awesome video that everybody seems to absolutely love, the Kermit video. I think I'm the only one that loved that Kermit video.
Yay!
So anyway, you can put any video you want in here or whatever, right? So I'm just going to change the color around here, whatever, and I'll bold this, okay? And there you go. It's in, and I'm just going to save this session. So now if I wanted to start this session, I can do that. This session right here is already live, and I can just hit enter and go right in. It's already live. This one is only live to me. That's another feature that's really important that I really like about this. You can actually, JQ or myself or anybody who's a moderator or all you new owners, there's two other parts to this site that's really nice. Once you go in here and you come in as a owner, you can come in as an owner and click on the start button. When you click on the start button, you go right into the website, but nobody else, no attendees can get in until you click on the start button inside the room. So moderators can go in there, they can set things up, you can test things out, and nobody's going to be able to sneak in until you click on the start button inside the room. Now, I'm just going to, I know I promised people that I would go in here and see if anybody had any questions. Let's see. Keith, why don't we set up a real webinar for my Thursday training using my account? Because I want you to do it yourself, dude. Okay. So yeah, so you can see this. JQ, can you see this?
Well, I see the desktop sharing right now. Oh, the top line there?
You
Yeah.
see the top line. So here are some things that are really important. If I click on stop the room, everybody that's in the room right now will be able to stay in the room and see what's going on. So I can prevent people from coming into the room after a certain number of people are in the room. Or I can click on, and if I click on the start room, everybody can come in. So it also works for that as well. Oops, I apologize. My bat phone is ringing.
Yeah.
Shut off my bat.
There you can see, guys, a way to kind of give yourself some privacy in your rooms without having to make it restricted to the public. No, you can let anybody you want come in, but you could stop them from coming in after a certain time. Maybe it would cause a disturbance if people come in after you've gotten halfway through or something like that, you know? And you don't want to have to go backtracking just for one or two people who showed up late, you know, and hold up everybody else if you're giving a presentation. That would be a waste of your time and everybody else's time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. See if there's anything else here. I placed a question in the question board. There you go. Yeah, thank you. Oh, by the way, I do want to mention that Sandy had requested that had a great idea for an upgrade in the future, and that upgrade is to click. Is that if somebody has a question in the question board, that somehow this bar lights up or blinks or something, so that if we're in general chat and we're looking at all these general chats, it'll remind the moderator to click on the question board. Okay, Deb Elaine asks, so with creating the sessions with a room, can we specify different moderators for each session if we need to? And I'm going to click on reply. I'm going to make it visible. I'll click on reply and say absolutely. Click on send. Ken Helmers asks, how many admin level accounts may each founder level account have? I'm not sure I understand that question. How many admin level accounts may each founder level have? Each founder has. I mean, I'm not trying to figure out what he means by level.
Yeah.
I think, well, you can have 10 rooms, if that's what you're asking, Ken. 10 rooms for founders. 10 500-seat rooms, 500-seat rooms. I think that. So that would be 10 admin level Actually, no, it's actually one admin level account, but one admin level account creates 10 rooms. Maybe that's the way I can answer that question. Terry Holt asks, isn't the webcast the same as the waiting room? Isn't the, no, those are two separate things.
Yeah, Keith, I think if you continue with what you're discussing there, and maybe go through the setup again, it might make it clear to everybody.
Okay, let me do that. I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to go right to Webcast, okay? And I'm going to create a brand new webcast. Typically, when you log in, you're not going to see anything here. It's going to be completely blank. And the first thing you need to do is you need to create a new web room, okay? Now, I'm going to go over this. I'm going to go over this as well because I think this is really important. And I know I went over this in the video, and hopefully people understand this. The public versus the private. The best way I can explain public versus private is that if you click on private, process to get into our webinar room is basically the exact same process as if you were to use GoToWebinar. If you use GoToWebinar, you will typically either get an email or you would get an invite to go to a website or something of that nature. When you go to that website, it would say register for our webinar. Once you register for our webinar, our private webinar, you will then be given an email saying, thanks for registering to our webinar. Our webinar starts at 8 p.m. tonight. Here is your personal link to you to join our webinar. Do not share this link. If you share this link and somebody uses it, you'll get kicked out of the room. So that's basically what the private webinar is. Again, it's just like GoToWebinar. And a lot of people like that. I do too. I think there's a lot of positive to using the private webinar feature. For something like our daily show that we have, we don't want to do that because it would mess things up. So there's a time to use this private webinar feature and a time not to use it. The real nice thing about the private webinar feature is that if you go back here, and I know I'm jumping around a little bit here, the real nice thing about the private webinar feature is that we capture for you, or you capture for yourself, name and email address. And you can send out emails to them anytime you want. So we do have a built-in autoresponder, and you can send out a general broadcast, or you can set up times to remind them of the webinar. So if you have a build-up for a 2-week build-up for a big webinar that you're coming out with, this is the type of process that you want to use, the private webcast type. Okay? Did I explain that well, JQ?
I think you did a fine job. I understood it.
Great. I'm going to get to moderators in a second here. This is obviously if you wanted to use a different type of skin, you would have to create your skin. And I'm going to get to the skin in just a minute too, because that's an important thing. That's very important as well, because Terry Holt had a problem with it, and it's completely understandable with the problem he had. One thing that I've noticed that if you the default skin and your logo and the promotional image and the promotional URL, they're really all tied into each other. So if you can't just set up a logo without setting up a promotional image. You have to do both together, or it won't, or the system won't take it. And the logo you find up in the top left-hand side. I'll just show you what the logo is. The logo is way up here. Can you see that, JQ?
Yep.
That's the logo, okay? And then the image, or the promotional ad, is on the bottom left-hand side that everybody's seen throughout the time we've been using the system. Okay. Webcast name. Webcast name can be 3 characters to 255 characters. Let's say that it's vircast 101.
Training.
vircast, the best new web tool in the business. We can center it, do whatever we want to it. Again, you can put video in here if you want to, but not necessary. All right, and we can save this. So basically what I've done is I've just created a brand new web room. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 web rooms that I've created. My system, I've got the same system that you did, I set up for myself, is a 10-room webinar, 500-seat webinar room. So I can only create 5 more rooms. But for every room, I can create a bunch of sessions. Again, for every room, I can create a bunch of different sessions. I can create a session that's going to go from 8 to 10 with a certain password associated with it. I can create another one at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the same web room. There's different sessions. Okay. I'm going to go back in here, JQ. I'm going to edit something in here because one thing I did not mention. I did set this up as private. But if I set it up as public, meaning anybody knows to go to a certain URL, and all they have to know is the password. Shouldn't be stupid. Let's say the password is. I get a cool one. How about the password is vircast? So I can say that, okay, everybody, I'm going to have a webinar tonight, and the password to get in is vircast. That way it's public, but only the people that I sent an invitation to, and maybe those that told other people about it, provided the password. And anybody who has the password can get in. If you don't have a password, you cannot get in. Right?
Right. Guys, this is a case where you might not want to use a really secure password. Like vircast is okay. This is for something like this.
Right. This might be, for instance, let's say that our coffee time show that we do is specifically for people who are owners of SMS, users and customers of SMS Dominator. And we would send out an email saying that the only way you can get into the coffee time room is you need to be an SMS Dominator customer, and we're going to email you maybe once a week for the new password for the week. And that way it'll prevent, for the most part, it'll prevent people from getting in other than those who are members of SMS Dominator. All right, I'm going to go back here before I go to subject. See if anybody has any questions. Do you need to have a password? No, you do not need to have a password, Sean. Just like with the coffee time room, we do not have a password to go in there. You just put in your name. You only really need to put in your first name, and you can jump on in. Top level access, same as owner has. All right, Cislin asks, let's see, Deb Lane says, is there a way to set up moderator access without them actually logging into my admin panel? The answer is absolutely yes. That's how we get. That's how Gabby gets in. We give Gabby a certain URL to sign in, and when he signs in, it's automatically noted that he's a moderator. Okay, we'll talk about that in a section 2. Does vircast allow for conference calls? At this time, we do not, but we do have a workaround. So I'll write that down. Not now, but working on a cool workaround. Now here's something that's important. I don't know if I sent that reply. Okay. If I don't hit visible, the only person that's going to see the answer to that will be the person that asked that question. Isn't that cool? So if somebody asks me a personal question that I don't want anybody else to know, and hey, do you want to get together tonight at 10 o'clock at the local tavern? I might not want everybody to know that.
Who would ask such a thing?
I don't know, Sean. I don't know, JQ. All right, so I can save this again, and this way, anybody in this case, it's open to the public, but you need to know the password. In this case, you do not need to register either for the room. You just need to know the password. So again, this would be great if I was doing a training session. Let's say that this would be great for somebody like Sean Carpenter, who sells his global funding deal system to 10 people. And he provides those 10 people with a password. And he knows all those people, and he knows if somebody other than those 10 people log in, he can kick them out. But he provides those 10 people with a password because they paid him $1,000 to sit with them in a live presentation and have a conversation with them. But he already knows their name and email address. He doesn't have to capture his name and their name and email address all the time because he already has it. So it would be like a duplication, and people would get 10 different emails from him because they signed up in 10 different places. So that's an example for training where having a password, for paid training, having a password is very JQ doesn't have the ability to mute himself.
Well, not at this level. I'm sorry about that. Guys, I'm going to jump in here because I just want to, what Keith's talking about here. Now, remember, you've got two types of webcasts, a public and a private. The public one can have a password but doesn't require a password, and anybody can get in. The private one, the only way they can get in is through a link that they're going to receive via email. So if you're going to conduct a private webcast, I can't get into it unless you send me an email and say, hey, here's your access code to get into the webcast. And that's that's not a password. It's just a special access code you get. And like Keith said, when you do it that way, you are going to capture their names and email addresses. That's cool stuff, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep, very cool. I love the idea of being able to do that because there are three ways to basically have people access your broadcast. They have to register for it, or they have to have a password for it, or they can just get in at any time, whatever they want to do. Well, the anytime is like a radio. Turn it on the radio. The password is almost like if you were, what's that, Sirius or something it's called? What's the name of that, the paid for thing, Sirius? That's the other version because you're paying to get in, that type of a feature. And yeah, again, this would work perfectly if you had a web page that said, we're going to reveal something more important than anything you've ever seen online on how to do XYZ, and I'm not going to give this away for free. In fact, I'm going to charge $25 for you to hear exactly how to do it. Pay you $25 and I'll give you a special link and password to get in and talk to me live, whatever it is. Okay. Excuse me. All right, so that's the webcast.
People, you see that? Keith is unable to mute himself.
I am. I just wanted you to know that I can make the sound too every once in a while. All right, so I'm going to go into manage webcast skins for a second here. This is really, I don't know if that's the right one I wanted to click, but I did click it already.
Excuse me, Keith.
One moment,
Keith?
please.
Keith? Yeah. Before you jump in there, could you just finish off on the
Yes.
URL stuff? Exit to URL. Whoops.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. This exit to URL is, let's say that, and we have this right now on our sites that we've had for a while. If you exit and you want to go to, right now, it goes to uResponder. But I can set this exit to go anywhere you want. And the exit button, if somebody hits the exit button, where that is, whoever hits the exit button up here, whatever you put into that exit URL section is the URL that it's going to be taken to. So I would put in vircast.com. Okay, and then I would hit save, and anybody who hit that exit button would go to vircast.com. Now, the only downfall is that you really have to encourage people to hit that exit button. If they hit the top green, the red button up here, the X button, they're not going to go to that URL. They have to click the exit button. So if you train people on doing that, it's another nice, powerful feature, because if you say, listen, guys, we've got a very special feature, very special one-time only offer, but there's only one way that you can get it. You have to click the exit button. If you click anything else but the exit button, you're not going to be taken to that page. And that's, whatever it is, that's how that works, okay?
You could also fib to them a little bit. You could also say, guys, when you leave the room, you really should click the exit button, because if you don't, if you leave by just Xing out, it could screw up the settings for the time you come back, and that wouldn't be good. Now, that's baloney, of course, but you could do something like that.
Okay, now, I did want to get to skins, but it was giving me a little tough time getting into the skins. Let me see if I can do it here. I'm not sure if it's going to.
Did you save that room yet? Oh,
I didn't save the room, but I'm going in a different direction for a second.
Fine. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm trying to get it to load up. It's a little bit of a intense site. Okay, you should see this room. This is the page. This is the page where you can edit and create a skin. You can create a bunch of skins, and then you can, in your web room, attach the skin that you created to this skin that you create. I didn't say that right. Anyway, if you want to create your own branding and you want to create your webinar room to completely match your particular web page, this is the page you want to go into to make it look and feel like it belongs to your page. Now, Terry Holt had mentioned that there was a bar across here and it only loaded up to 60%. If you uncheck this, you can have either a loading bar or you could have a loading scrolling thing. I don't know can you see if this is moving like a candy cane, JQ? Or is it just like a...
Yes, it is.
Straight. Okay.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It's moving
so
very slowly, but it is.
If I disable that, for some reason, it says loading 60%, and it kind of gives you the impression that the page is not done. Well, the page is actually loaded, and I'm going to mention this to the programmer, because the page is loaded, and it is done, and I can prove it to you by clicking on this button where it says blue or default. If I click on blue, you'll notice that the things will start to change color a little bit. Let me click on another one. Okay, you see how it changed color?
Yep.
All right. So it does load, and you just have to mess around with how you want it to look to create the skin. This is the default skin. I don't think it's that great. In fact, I kind of like that the default skin is not great, because it forces you to go in to make changes and figure out exactly how to change the room's look and feel. And to be able to have a brandable room like this at no additional charge, I think is very important. And you can create as many new skins as you want. So I can click create a new skin and modify it as many times as I want to modify it. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on in this particular web page, so it's moving a little bit slow. So I'm going to get out of here, save a little of my RAM. All right, so I'm going to go save this room now. So you know that I'm going to create this. I'm going to actually change it to the default blue. Okay, and I'm going to slide down a little bit and click submit to save this. And now, as I mentioned in the video, it appears that everything is done, but it's not. If I go in here to start a room, to start a broadcast, you'll notice in here that there are no webcast sessions created. So the web room is created, but the session was not. All right. So once you kind of get the idea that you need to put the two together, things will flow. It was a little clunky for me. I remember, I'm like, well, wait a second. I created a web room. What happened? Why isn't it not working? You need to create a web session as well. Okay. And maybe the web session is still vircast 101, and you can create that. And once you create it, I don't know, vircast 101, and then And here is where, and I'm going to do this, if you are seeing this page, you may be in, you may have clicked this link early. Refresh this page until login info appears. This is really important because earlier today, earlier in this broadcast, I showed you, it's not the right one, not text. Earlier in this broadcast, I showed you the start button and the stop button. And I mentioned that if I don't start the room, people are going to be stuck in this on this page. This is kind of like what I think what Terry was saying. This is kind of like a waiting room. People are going to be waiting to get into the room. And the only way they can get into the room is if I click on the start button as an administrator inside the room. If I click on, it says stop now because, but this would typically say start. Once I click the start button, it changes to the word stop. Once I click that, the customer, if they get in early, if the customer clicks the link, let's say the broadcast starts at 2, and they click the link to come in at 1:45, and I, as an administrator, have not clicked the start button on the webcast session, they're going to be in this room. Once I click the start button, they're not automatically taken to the room. They need to refresh this page. And that's exactly why I created the webinarwaitingroom.com system that you guys will have access to shortly, probably sometime next week, so that you can have the countdown, and instead of really seeing this room, this is all built in. The webinar waiting room is an add-on, and all founders will get access to that for free. Anybody who wants to have access to the webinar waiting room that are not founders will have to pay a small amount of money, one-time payment. Okay, does that make sense, Jacob?
Yes, yes, it does. It answers my question.
So I'm gonna hit submit. So you always have to, and see how it says start here? It says start because the room has not started yet. The status is waiting. The system is waiting for the administrator to start the room. Now there are 2 start buttons. You have to click this, and then you have to actually click the start button inside the room for the members to be able to get in the room, and that's this right here. Okay. These features, these like stop gaps, I don't know what you want to really call it. These features, although they're additional steps for you as a moderator, they are really, really important steps to take as a moderator, to have this flexibility and ability to play in your web room and not have to see other people or have other people see you in the room. It really is a nice feature to lock other people out and to be able to have that waiting room, whether it's our webinarwaitingroom.com system or if it's this system, to have people be in there and doing something. All right, let's let me stop the desktop sharing for a minute.
Folks, I want to say one thing too. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but when Keith was in that the skin section where you create your skins, if you notice right in the center it says sandbox. So as you make changes, it's going to appear there. That's going to be mimic your end result. So you can see on the fly exactly what's going to happen, what it's going to look like.
It's got a stretch here. It's my 3:30 stretch. Ugh.
7th inning, huh?
Yeah. We used to sing
last night?
No, I didn't. I heard about the Grand Slam though.
9-3, I think they finished it off.
9-6, I think it was. But I'm telling you, my prediction is coming true. The Red Sox are going to be the World Series championship. I'm telling you. I said it about 3 weeks or 4 weeks before the season even started. Okay, Deb Lane says, just to be sure, create the new skin name first. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Deb. The first thing you want to do is you want to create the new skin first, and then once you create the name, it'll open up that new skin, and then you can edit it and modify it any way you want. And again, I happen to like these colors, so that's why I kind of stuck with them. But I'm going to change it around a little bit because we can. Now, here's a couple other things I had mentioned. We are going to have a couple trainers that want to be trainers. I know a couple people have already contacted me already. We're going to have those trainers available for you, available for a bunch of people. We're going to start marketing Vircast pretty soon. I've got to do a few things, obviously, like getting the affiliate system up and running. But the trainers, the way that we're initially going to pay the trainers, and I know that Deb Lane would appreciate this because as when I was a trainer for GVO, we had somewhere between 60 and 150 people on the show every morning, and I got zero benefit out of that because I promoted GVO, and I'm going to allow that all the trainers that want to train and feel that they're capable of training, anybody that goes to that show. So let me give you an example. Let's say Deb Lane has a training on Thursday night on Vircast, and she's doing the training. You're going to be going to Deb Lane's personal training room, and all the links in the room are going to be Deb Lane's affiliate link for Vircast. So after she does the show, Deb Lane says, "Listen, if you've never used the system, if you're not a member of the system, you want to become a member of the system, all you need to do is click on the image on the left-hand side to get started, or you can do this to get started. Whatever you want to do, we're going to have it all iframed, so all trainers will have their affiliate link, and they'll get paid." I think that's a. How many trainers do you need? I don't know, Terry. I'm not sure yet.
Well, I'm not sure.
Hopefully, we're going to need 10.
Yeah. But each of you who bought the package, the 10-room package, you're going to be your own trainers. You know, you're going to be trainers. You can set up your own training sessions just like we're doing here.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Let me see if there's anything on the question board. You know, I love wearing my glasses sometimes, but I hate wearing them because when I take off my glasses, my eyesight is actually worse than they were when I put them on initially. Is that always the case, JQ?
With some people. You want to hear something really interesting? I think it's really interesting. I'm going to tell you something really interesting.
Okay. Tell me something really interesting.
For years, when I turned 40, I needed glasses. And I've worn glasses ever since. Well, right now, I can read a book without my glasses. I couldn't do that several years ago. I don't know what's happening, why my vision is changing in that regard and getting better or something. But I just found that, for me, that was really something else.
That is interesting. I wonder what that is. My wife, by the way, she wears glasses 90% of the time. But when she's sitting down reading, she never wears glasses. Ever. Yeah. It's kind of a funny thing. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, and I'm the opposite. I only wear glasses when I have to. I mean, I've been wearing glasses more and more lately, like with the monitor and stuff like that. When we're using a smaller monitor, but when it comes to reading, if I don't have my glasses, I can't read it. I have to hand it to her. So I don't have my glasses on, and she takes her glasses off to read what she needs to read for me.
If you look at the calendar, Keith, you notice that each day you're getting older and older and older.
I know.
You know.
I know. I know. It's a sad thing, isn't it? I guess it's better than the alternative. Because if you're not getting older, you're 6 feet in the ground, right?
Yes, you were still waiting for you to respond to your Skype in instant message. Ken Hillman.
I did not see it, Ken. I don't know. You know what? I know you sent me something, Ken, and I can't remember now. But I will just buzz me again, please, because my brain has been on complete overload. Please, you guys, don't talk about age, okay? All right. Well, anybody have any other questions before we stop? We've been talking for an hour now about what's going on. This has been recorded, by the way. I think we did make some progress. Hopefully, do you guys feel like you've gotten somewhere with the systems and understand some of the real big benefits of what vircast brings to the table? I personally think, JQ, one of the biggest benefits that vircast brings to the table is the ability to force people to register, like GoToWebinar. And once they force people to register, they now have their name and email address, and they can now use that name and email address and send them out messages whenever they want.
Yes, it's very easy to record. When you come in as a moderator, you will see in the upper right-hand corner. Can you show it on desktop share? Anyways, you'll see.
I think I can. Yeah, I'll show it on desktop sharing.
Up there's a recording module, and you just fill in a couple of blanks. You need a YouTube account right now, but you should all have your own YouTube accounts anyways.
Actually, you don't need a YouTube account, but it does help. Yep, I'm going to show you right now. There's one thing that you say I can't show it right now, but what I can show you is that it's called a recording module, and it's not going to initially look like this. It's going to say that you need to install something, and then you click yes, I want to install it. Once it's installed, it starts to look like this. Now there are a couple things that you can do. You can have the video output saved to AVI or FLV, and you can have it saved to your YouTube account to automatically go up to your YouTube account. Once you record it, it does two things. It actually saves on your hard drive and goes to your YouTube account. If you don't want it to go to your YouTube account, you don't have to do that. You can just leave that blank and click on Save. So if you leave the YouTube account information blank, it will not automatically upload to that. Okay?
There you go.
So it goes two places, to your hard drive and to YouTube. All right, where am I? Home. Home is where I'd like to be. Home for a while in my own country. It's a nice little Irish jig. All right, guys, I'm done. I will be here for most of the day. In about 5 minutes, I'm going to check on the Skype from Ken Helmers, and see what it has to say. I don't have Skype on this computer to save RAM and all that kind of fun stuff. But how do you guys think that this room worked, other than me being a little bit darker than usual?
I think it works great. By the way, Keith, Deb Lane has a question about the info and the URLs. Where does that that our rooms will be? Where is the info on the URL that our rooms will be?
Oh, that is that's a great question. Before we leave, I'll just go into desktop real quick. My bad.
No, you're not bad. You're not bad.
I don't know why it's not. Is desktop sharing active?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I see your cursor.
All right, because it didn't
moving around on a blank desktop.
You do? Okay, cool. All right, so if you go in here, and you click on Manage Webcast, after you create the webinar room and the webcast session, you will see this. It says webcast information. This is the webcast information. If you go over the cursor and you wait for a second, it'll have a little pop-up of what everything is. So for instance, this room that we're in right now, if I click on that icon there, it'll provide all the information that you need to know. So what I gave you guys today, if you go to vircast.com/coffee time, it actually, after a while, it redirected to this link right here. So this is the direct link. Okay, that's the direct link.
You notice people too, while he's got that image up there, you notice he had the promotional URL and the promotional image in there in that little setting, and that's what you're seeing here. Right. And like he said, when the time comes for you to set up your own rooms, you got to have them both. It's a little idiosyncrasy of the system, but they both got to be in there.
And they can be different. They don't need to be the same. I just did it the same, by the way. I can just see somebody asking that question. They can be completely different images. Okay,
Bill
guys,
Link
I do.
says
Yeah.
he was not a fan originally, but it's looking better all the time. Yeah, well, he's becoming, what do you call it, what's an option, for a fan there? Something else.
I don't know. We're winning him over. Hey, JQ, I do need to run, so I'm going to go and hide me. Okay? Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Well, actually, guys, there's nothing else I'm going to do here either. I'll close it out. We will have more sessions like this, and again, like I keep asking, anyways. If you got